It only happens here not because of coincidence, not because of bad luck, but as a consequence of our inaction. We are responsible.
Didn't take him long to go right to gun control. Chris Murphy from Connecticut. Is this a problem with the gun or the shooter? Let's look at the AR-15, what makes it so popular, and overwhelmingly what makes it so safe, what it takes to get one. Joining us now is Aaron Cohen, a security and counter-terror expert. Aaron, you know this weapon well. I fired it many times. You know, my family owned a lot of guns. I shot guns since I was, I don't know, six years old. But it's like all weapons. It's very dangerous in the hands of the wrong person. And if you're not trained, and if you have a criminal disposition, a violent disposition, it can be turned into a killing machine. But Chris Murphy wants to make this tonight all about the weapons.
Well, Chris Murphy, Laura, isn't really qualified to A, assess threat, and B, he's not qualified to manage risk. This is a security issue. It's not a weapon issue. That kid had parents. Where's the parents? Who raised this kid? What was going on in the house? That's the first place I'd be looking. Pardon me for my voice. There is a mental health epidemic here which is being confused for a gun problem. I don't want that to sound political, but it's the truth. Your last guest talked about how Israel managed to completely squash all of the school shootings in the 70s, which were a result of terrorism. The reason why we were able to do that is because we took a realistic approach to the security for the schools, which meant multi-layering. The weapon, just to go back to your first point, the AR stands for Armalite. It's very important for people to understand. Doesn't stand for automatic rifle. Armalite's the company that manufactured it for the military. Now there's dozens, if not hundreds, of companies that manufacture ARs and sell them around the country. It is a semi-automatic rifle, which means every time you depress the trigger, it fires one bullet. It's no different than a handgun. It works at the same exact principle as the handgun. In fact, the round is even smaller. It's a 22 caliber round, if you were to break it down, which is the .223 rifled round. The other difference is it doesn't and will never be legally purchased to fire without a federal firearms license on fully automatic. The M4, which the AR is modeled after, is a fully automatic rifle deployed primarily in the military by SWAT units, by law enforcement, for fully automatic fire. You cannot fire this AR on full auto. I think there's some grandiosity after being at war for the last 15 years, which makes kids and people want to associate with this weapon, but the fact is, it looks like a menacing M4. Not even close. That's number one.
It's a semi-auto. It's a semi-auto weapon, but the magazines, the clips can hold more bullets. Correct? That's what California tackled with limiting the clip size and so forth. So that's what the Chris Murphy will say. Not only is this not just the way the weapon looks, it's the fact that the clip holds as many bullets. And if he didn't have a clip that held that many bullets, he couldn't have done that much damage. He had a lot of clips in his possession, apparently. But this weapon is a popular weapon all over the country.
It's all over the country because it's a really good self-defense weapon. I would have one in my home for home defense. Thousands of people have them in their home because it shoots very straight. You can carry more ammunition in it, and it's actually safer because you're going to have you're going to have a lower, you have to pardon me, I'm teaching a course in Hebrew right now, so I'm all over the place. You have a less likelihood of sporadic fire or hitting innocent people if you're using it for home defense because it shoots really straight. So it's actually a very safe weapon. Yep. It's easier to shoot than a pistol. It's got more points of contact for stability, but in the hands of the wrong person. And again, where was the parents? What was the home life of this child? There's so much more involved here than the weapon.
Aaron,
this guy Chris is so far out of left base.
Aaron, there are some things we've learned. His mother died last year. He was adopted. His parents, Linda and Roger Cruz. He's followed, apparently, according to Trace Gallagher, the Iraqi fighters online and the Syrian resistance. Now, maybe he was just following them, I guess, because he was curious. But red flag, we don't know more. But there's something going on there. So we'll learn more about that. One more question for you. Given your experience with Israel and the schools and the Beslan massacre in Russia, remember that? That was horrific. 100 people died, 100 plus.
Horrific.
What could these schools in the United States do today beyond having one security guard and a buzzer and some bulletproof glass on the front? What else could they do?
Thank you for asking me this important question. The difference between Israeli security and American private security is that we invest in the security guard. We physically train them to be able to look at behavior to predict violence, which means the average security guard is trained in A, being able to respond to an active shooter, which means they are all armed in the schools, number one. Two, open the jacket, check the bag. If this kid had his jacket opened, or the bag was opened, you're not getting in with an AR. You're not getting in with a pistol. You're not getting in with a bomb. It works for idiots like this kid who are poorly raised, and it works for terrorists. And not only do we have a mental health problem, but we have a terrorism problem in this country. So we check the bags, open the jackets, but we train the security. We invest in the individual security guard so he can predict behavior. There's 21 different red flags someone's going to do when they're about to commit an act of murder. You can train them in that. Just spend the money on the training. Teach them what to look for.
Aaron, thank you so much for the insights tonight. Take care of that voice. Stay right there. We have late-breaking details from the shooting scene in Broward County. We're learning more details by the moment. We're going to get them all to you. Don't go away.